Hey guys, in this video we're going to be creating an Ember.js application. Alright, so this is going to be a front to back, very simple task manager application. And although it's really simple, we're going to touch on a lot of the fundamentals of Ember, things that you need to know to build a successful web app. Alright, so this is Ember.js.com, and if you've worked with Ember before and you've been to this website, they used to have a button here to download the starter kit. Alright, there's no more starter kit. What it is now, it's a CLI tool that you can install and you can generate your application from there. So that's what we'll be doing. Now in order to do this, in order to use Ember now, you need to have Node.js installed. Alright, so you just want to go to nodejs.org and go ahead and download and install it, whether you're on Windows like I am or Linux or Mac. Just go ahead and get that installed, and if you have Node installed, that means you have NPM installed as well. Alright, so I already have it, so I'm not going to go through that. Now, as far as data and a database, we're going to be using Firebase, which is a cloud platform that will allow us to use a database for free. Development databases are free, so go ahead and sign up, and once you sign up and log in, you'll have an interface like this. Alright, and you just want to create a new app or new database. Alright, and we're going to call this mtasks. Now you won't be able to use this as your URL, so just put whatever you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and create the app, and there it is. So that's all we have to do for now. If we click manage app, that's just going to take us to the interface. You can see it's null because we don't have any data yet, but that's all we have to do to set that up. So we'll just leave that. Now I'd also suggest that you use this Ember Inspector tool. It's a plugin for Chrome, and I believe there's one for Firefox as well. And yeah, you should definitely install that because it'll give you a lot of information that you're not going to be able to see using just standard console. Alright, so go ahead and get that. I already have it installed. Alright, now to get this thing up and going, you're going to have to install the Ember CLI. So you want to just type that in your command line, whether you're using Windows or Linux or Mac terminal, whatever you're using, just go ahead and enter that as long as you have Node and NPM installed. And that could take a couple minutes. Now I'm going to be pausing the video when we do things like this, just so we're not sitting here doing nothing. So don't go crazy if yours takes 5 minutes and it seems like mine takes a second. Alright, so that took about 4 or 5 minutes. Now what we're going to want to do is create our app. So I'm just going to create it right in my C drive, and it's going to create the actual application folder for you. So to do that, we'll say Ember new, and then the name of your app. I'm going to call it mtasks. Okay, and that might take a minute or two as well. Alright, so now our app should be created. We should be able to cd into mtasks. Alright, and let's go ahead and run ember serve, or ember server you can also use. Alright, now the default port for Ember is 4200, so we're going to go to localhost 4200. And there it is. Okay, so this is the default landing page that they give you. There's not really a sample app or boilerplate code. It's just blank and allows you to just kind of go from there. All right, now one thing you might notice is that this little loading icon up here is still going. Now I don't know if it's with my system or what, but this always happens when I initially install Ember and live reload is enabled. Alright, so live reload, supposedly you'd edit your code, save it, and your browser will automatically reload. But whenever I have it on, it just seems to do this, so I always shut it off. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, first of all, excuse me, I'm going to bring my project into Sublime Text. Okay, so I think I put it in my C drive. let's see. Here it is, mtasks. All right, now to shut off live reload, we want to go to the config file, Ember.CLI. And I'm just going to put a comma right here. And I'm going to say live reload, set that to false. All right, and we'll save that. And then if we restart, Control C, yes, and let's restart it. All right. So that should stop. All right, there we go. All right, so now we're all set. Now, if we look at the file structure, the app folder is basically where we'll be working. Okay, the whole MVC structure is in here. We have components, controllers, helpers, models, routes, styles, and templates. All right. If we look at router.js, this is the main route file. This is where we can create our different routes. But rather than just typing it in manually, we can actually use the Ember CLI generator, which is nice. And we can generate routes, we can generate controllers, models, templates, pretty much anything, components. All right, so what I want to do is create a route for tasks. All right, so I'm going to go back to the command line and stop the server. And we're going to say Ember G route and tasks. All right, and now if we go back and we go into, where is it, routes, you'll see we have this tasks.js. Also, if we look in router.js, it did this for us. Okay, so this is this dot route and then tasks. And it also should have created a template. So templates, and you'll see we have tasks.hps. Now, the HBS stands for handlebars. Handlebars is a template engine, and it's the default template engine that Ember uses. And I really like it. I think it's really powerful and really easy to use. Most of your variables are going to just use the syntax here. So we have that. Now, if we go to localhost 4200, actually we need to start the server. Okay, and we want to go to /tasks. All right, so we're not going to have anything here by default. This welcome to Ember, this is going to show on every single page on every route because we have it in our layout folder, our layout file, which is under templates and then application.hbs. Okay, every template and route that we create is going to show up through here, and anything else is going to be on every page. All right, so this will be on every page. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then we'll save that, and then we're going to go to our task template and get rid of that. And let's put in H1. And save it. And now we get tasks. Now we're going to also want a route to be able to add tasks. All right, so I want that to be tasks/new. All right, so to create that, let's go ahead and stop the server. And we can do it the same way. We're going to say Ember G route, and then we're going to say tasks/new. Okay, so now if we go back and look in our, let's look in routes. Now we have a folder named tasks, and in that we have a new.js. Same thing in the templates, we have a folder tasks, and then we have new.hbs. So let's go ahead and open that new HBS. And for now, let's just say, just so we know, we'll just say new task, save that. And if we reload, actually we need to start the server back up. Okay, so notice that we're still seeing the tasks heading, and that's absolutely normal. That's actually what we want. We're not seeing new tasks because we need to include inside the task template, we need to include where we want that to show up. All right, and we're going to use outlet for that. And I actually want it to show up above the heading. All right, so we'll say outlet. Okay, we'll save that. And now you can see that our our new template is now embedded in the tasks template. All right, if we go back to just tasks, take off the new, then we're not going to see the new task template. Now what we're going to want to put there in the new, say /new, is a form. All right, and ultimately we want to be able to add a task. It'll get saved to our Firebase, and then it will automatically it'll show down here. That's what we want. But before we get into that, I want to make this look a little better and use Bootstrap. All right, so to install Bootstrap, let's go ahead and stop the server. We can use Bower. If you don't know what Bower is, it is a package manager that works very much like NPM, except it's for the front end. It's for the client side. So things like jQuery, Bootstrap, front end tools that you want to use. So what we're going to do here is say Bower install and Bootstrap. All right, so that installed Bootstrap. Now before we can use it, we need to include it in our application, and the place we want to do that is actually in the we want to go in the root directory. We want to go to Ember.js/CLI-build.js, and we want to use this app import. So what I'm going to do is just delete all these comments, and we're going to say app.import, and the location, which is going to be in Bower Components /bootstrap /dist/css /bootstrap.css. All right, I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head, but that looks right. So let's save it, and let's go ahead and run the server again. All right, and if we reload, it should change the font. All right, so you see the font and the padding has changed. So Bootstrap is now included. Now let's get kind of a base template down. So I'm going to go to Get Bootstrap, and we're going to go to Getting Started, and there should be some sample templates down here. Right here, what I want is the starter template. So if we click on that, it's going to open it, and we want to do a Control-U so we can get the source code. And we're going to take from this nav tag down to the ending container. Okay, so we're going to copy that, and we want to go into templates and then application.hbs, because everything we put in here is going to be on every page, and we're going to want the navigation on every page. So for now, let's just paste that in, and I'm just going to make this a little wider. So we're going to have to change a couple things here. First thing, we have this navbar fixed top class. I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'm going to change navbar inverse into navbar default. All right, and then if we go down a little bit, project name, we're going to take that, change it to mtasks. And let's see, for the menu here, for now I'm just going to get rid of all the li tags. We'll get to that after. And then down here we want to keep the container div, but we can get rid of this starter template div and everything in that. All right, and then we're simply just going to use the grid system, and I'm going to create a row. All right, and then in that, we're going to create our column. This is going to be a 12-column div. And we're just going to take this outlet, and put it right in there. So now every template that's rendered is going to be in here. All right, we'll have all this around it. So let's save that, and let's go back to mtasks and reload. And now we have our template. Okay, so things look a little better. So to add our links up here, we're going to want just a home and a new task button or link. So let's go back to this UL, and we'll put in our LIs, and we're going to use the link helper for this. All right, so we're going to use this double curly brace syntax, and we're going to say link to, and then the ending tag, whoops, the ending tag will be slash link to. All right, so we want to link to the tasks route, and the text will say home. All right, and then we'll copy that, paste that in, and this one's going to be tasks.new, and let's change this to new task. All right, so now we can reload, and now we should be able to toggle through these pages. Okay, so when we click that, the new task will show. Now this is gonna, we want that to be a form. Okay, when we click new tasks, so let's go to the new template, and just to save time, I'm going to paste that form in. All right, so this is a Bootstrap formatted form. You can see we have our form groups around each field. We have a label, and then here we're using Ember's input helper. Okay, just like the link helper, we're going to use the double curly braces input, and then we can put in whatever we would for a regular input HTML tag. So the type is text. We're giving it a class of form control, and the value is really important. That's how that's how the controller is going to know what field is what. So we're going to set value to title with no quotes. Same thing here. This is going to be the date. So we have a type of date, and we're saying value date. Down here is the description. We're using excuse me, a text area, and the value is going to be description as well. All right, then we have a button. So let's go ahead and save that. Make sure that that shows up. Okay, so there's our form, and it only shows up when we click new task. All right, so now what we're going to need is we need a way to submit this. All right, and we're going to do that through an action. So what we're going to do is go down to the button here, and we're going to add right here a double curly brace and say action, and we'll call it add task, and then we need our closing curly braces. All right, so this is going to go to an add task function or method. All right, now this we can actually have in either the controller or right in the route. So we want to put it in the controller. So let's save that. And right now, if we look in controllers, we don't have any. So we're going to go ahead and generate those. Okay, so just like we did with routes, we can say Ember.js controller, and then let's do tasks. Okay, controllers should be plural, and then we're also going to do controller tasks/new. Okay, so now if we go ahead and look, we have tasks and we have task new. Now since this is in the new route where we're calling this action, then the new controller is where we want to catch it. All right, and to get it, we can just say actions, and then this is going to be an object that specifies all of the actions. So that one is called add task, and that's going to be a function. And just to check things out, we're going to have to put our fields inside variables. So let's say var title, and that's going to be equal to this this dot get, and then whatever that value was, which was title. All right, and then just to test, let's just do an alert, and we're going to want to alert the title. So reload. Whoops, we got to run the server. I'll probably do that about 25 more times. Alright, so let's reload. Okay, so you see up here, JS hint is giving us an error. This is not defined, and apparently I think I'm in PHP, so we want to get rid of that $sign. Alright, so let's reload, and now let's just say test for the title, and we're using Bootstrap, so it gives us this nice looking date finder, and then we'll just say test description and submit. And now we're getting test because we're alerting out the title. So now what we want to do is grab the other fields as well. So let's copy that. Okay, and we're going to get the description. This one's going to be the date. Okay, so now we have those. Now we need to create a new task with all these fields. So we'll say create new task. So we'll create a variable called new task and set it to this dot store dot create record. Alright, and actually, you know what, before we do this, we haven't gotten into the model or the database yet, so I'm going to just hold off with this. So in the next video, in the next part, we're going to create the model, and we're also going to install something called Ember Fire, which will give us an adapter to allow us to connect to Firebase. Alright, so I will see you in the next part.